So when you look at a figure, there's too much information, too much nuance and detail, and we've got to break it right down into something way simpler. And we came up with, for our beginner series, we came up with the super stickman idea, which was just the essential landmarks, like the collarbones on the front or the line of the spine down the back. And there's one muscle that was important and useful enough. Mostly it's skeletal stuff. There's one muscle that's important enough to be part of that super stickman that we came up with. And that was the sternocleidomastoid on the neck. Bit of a mouthful. We call it the V of the neck because it's kind of a V shape coming up from the middle of the collarbones to the back of the ear on each side. Hi, my name's Kenzo. This is Love Life Drawing. We'll be back to drawing clothing tomorrow. Today is a quick anatomy tip. So why is that so useful? Well, the middle of the collarbones is super important. It's the start of the torso center line. It's the start of the whole shoulder structure, right? The collarbones come out from there. And then you can check the balance of a standing pose by looking at the vertical line down from the middle of the collarbones. So that is really helpful for helping us understand which way the torso is facing and stuff, the middle of the collarbones. And then on the head, the ear tells you so much. Like you could draw no face and just have the ear, and the viewer would know which way the head is pointing and all sorts of information about the volume of the head. Like if you studied the Loomis method, you know that the ear is super useful for understanding the head volume. And so wouldn't it be cool if there was a line that connected the middle of the collarbones to the ear and helped us to connect the head to the torso? And there is. It's this muscle that we're on about today, and it's almost always pretty visible, pretty clear. So, figure drawing is tough, but sometimes nature's given us a little helping hand, and this sternocleidomastoid muscle is a little helping hand for us. And I noticed that on day 20 we had all these quick poses, like 15 seconds, and obviously in 15 seconds you have no time. So even the torso center line I didn't draw, but I did find this point on the middle of the collarbones and the line of the muscle coming up to the head. Now often, if you've got a head from the front, you're going to use both of these muscles on each side, like the whole V shape. But often, the head is turned, or we're looking at it from an angle or something, and it's one side, the more kind of visible side, that's super useful for placing the head on the torso. So like here, you can see it often becomes like a straight line, just directly from the middle of the collarbones to the back of the ear. And it's not just this line that we're going to use to connect torso to head. We're going to kind of triangulate it with some other information. So we've got the middle of the collarbones, and we're going to find the line of the collarbones coming out to the shoulders, and then the diagonals of the trapezius coming up to the neck. And then we're going to look for how those lines or those shapes interact with the jaw and the chin. So if the head is a little bit down, the jaw and the chin might overlap the shape of the trapezius and the neck. And if it's a little bit up, then the trapezius and this line of the jaw and chin might make a negative space shape, right? So we're going to look for whether there's an overlap or some negative space between them. And that's really, really useful for positioning and connecting the head to the torso as well. It's also really important because often we want to put the head above the shoulders. We have this preconception, right, in our minds that the head is above the torso. But often the shape of the head overlaps with the shape of the torso. And so if you take care to look for how the line of the jaw and the chin overlaps and intersects with the shapes on the neck and the trapezius and on the torso, that's going to help to deal with that. And then you combine that, looking for the negative space under the jaw and chin or the overlap, and then combine that with this line from the middle of the collarbones to the back of the ear, and suddenly we know how to connect heads to torsos. We've solved a big part of the figure drawing riddle. So thank you, Mother Nature, for giving us a little bit, you made things very complicated in figure drawing, but you gave us a little helping hand with that muscle, so appreciate that. If you guys want to build up your foundational observational skills for figure drawing, we spent last year working super hard creating a really powerful course for that. Enrollment's going to open straight after Figuary on March 1st, and the course is 4 weeks. It will start 1 week later. I'll put some testimonials from past students on the screen. Definitely check it out if you're interested in building up your figure drawing skills. Guys, have a great session. I hope that this little bit of anatomical knowledge will help you putting the head on the torso. Always look for this point at the middle of the collarbones at the base of the neck and try and find that muscle coming up to behind the ear. Good luck with your drawings, and I'll see you guys back here tomorrow.